Ever since I was a child, I just took refuge in the night skies.
I mean, I was studying the deep sea floor. It's 15,000 feet down. That's hard enough to do through the water. Why add 200 more miles to the challenge? It was because if I was selected, I would actually have the chance to see the Earth with my own eyes and not just look at someone else's pictures.
My dad flew and built small airplanes when I was growing up, so flying was a big part of my life. I mean, I have memories of flying in these small planes before I could even see over the cockpit.
I remember I couldn't wait to go to bed because I could just look at this beautiful landscape of shiny little dots in this black background and think about all the worlds that could be out there waiting for me to discover them.
You know, I'm a young girl growing up in suburban Southern California. About 1961, you've got Jacques Cousteau exploring the deep sea, and you've got the original Seven and Mercury and the space race. And how does it come to be that some people get to have this kind of adventure in their life? And I wonder if I could ever figure out how to have that in my life.
The idea of flying in space is one of these things that I think anybody who flies dreams of.
When the revolution happened back in Iran, the world around me started falling apart. Everything started changing. Everything was in chaos, you know, gunshots, explosions. When I would go and look at the night skies, it was like an escape from reality. I would just go to another place, another world, and a world that I had control over, and imagining that there must be a peaceful way of life. Somehow I just believed in my heart that I would find a way and do it.
Discovery Houston, we're still looking at it.
They called me and they said, "Anousheh, do you want to go to space?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I started screaming. And it was like one of the best moments in my life.
You're L-12 months, and then 11, and then 10, and very mindful of when that countdown clock shifts to weeks, and then it shifts to days, and you're really eager for it to shift to hours and minutes.
We were seated inside the capsule, and the whole time I was just very, very calm. And I think it had to do with the fact that I felt like if I die after reaching space, I'll die a happy person. Then I felt very privileged, actually, that I had the opportunity to realize this childhood dream I had.
Right before getting in the space shuttle, they have this camera in the White Room, and they let you give a little wave or something to your family. And my son and I had come up with this coded hand signal that I was going to do for him. And they let you do that. And to me, that was something that just really reinforced that we're humans flying in space. It's hard to not be able to, you know, hug your kid before you're going to go launch on a rocket.
If everything goes as planned, you got 9 minutes till you lift off. You got 8.5 minutes after that.
But then it's not until you're at the 10-9-8 that you even think that it's possible that you'll launch. And you've been laying on your back peacefully and quietly, and now out of nowhere something's hit you from behind, and it feels like 3 of you are starting to sit on top of you, and you are just shaking.
You're going about 2,000 miles an hour faster than the minute before for 8.5 minutes in a row. That's an impressive ride.
We had a moment of sort of brief, complete quiet. And then the second stage hit in, and then you felt the acceleration again.
And then that goes on until about 8.5 minutes, and then that big orange tank does its boom and flash. And then you're in space.
Seeing Earth from orbit for the first time is stunning enough. It will literally pull the breath out of you.
I floated up to the window, and I saw Earth from space for the first time. And it was the most incredible, amazing, emotional moment.
That was the first time I looked up and saw this spectacular blue and white arc of Earth, the North Atlantic, out the window. And I couldn't help myself. I blurted out, "Wow, look at that."
All those colors that you think about Earth being, you know, the blues, the greens, the browns, the whites, that's what I remember in my face, was this just glowing, colorful place. I mean, you really get this sense that the place is alive.
And I felt this amazing energy, this warmth almost life emanating from it. And then I could feel it. And, I was smiling ear to ear, but my tears were rolling down my eyes. And then one of them started floating right in front of me. And I saw my teardrop in front of me floating. And that made me laugh and cry even more.
To see fine tendrils of dust blowing, big clouds of dust billowing over the Saharan desert in Africa, and then see fine tendrils of that going all the way to Brazil with the naked eye. So these long-scale interconnections, and then down at a finer scale, the small scale of a bubbling thundercloud or a swirling hurricane, or plumes of smoke off a volcano or off of a fire. You see all of that. In orbit around the Earth at space shuttle altitudes, you're doing a lap around the planet every 90 minutes.
It was really kind of weird to think about, how fast I was going around the planet and that my family was in this one place. And they could go outside if it was a certain time of day and look up and see the station, this dot of light crossing the sky and know that I was there.
You see a sunrise or a sunset every 45 minutes. We don't get one sunrise and one sunset in 24 hours. We get 16 each.
One night, I was looking out the window next to my sleeping bag. There was a big thunderstorm over the area we were passing. And it was like this beautiful light show. And I had my iPod with me and I was listening to music. And it was really enchanting and beautiful. And I'm thinking to myself and enjoying this moment. And at the same time, it just clicked for me that while I'm enjoying it from up here, probably people down there caught in the thunderstorms and driving in traffic and everything, the chaos that must be happening down there. And from up here, it looks really beautiful, like a light show. It's this sort of perspective.
I remember feeling just like I did when I flew in small planes at first and separated from my neighborhood. Wow, I'm leaving this place in a way that is so different to anything else I've ever done. And I feel more connected to it than I do when I'm right in the middle of it.
Space as a vantage point to look back at Earth is probably one of the most revolutionary things of our time. Human beings are sense-making creatures. Exploration and making sense of our environment is a natural part of our instinct and what we do at different scales. Space offers us the challenge and the opportunity to try to tackle that at the largest and most demanding and challenging scale.
These lines that we draw on a map that separates this country from that country, you don't see that from space. There is no wall separating us. Everything is connected. It is one home. It is one planet. It is one single unit that we all live on. Around us, it's this dark universe. There's nothing else around that looks anything close to our planet.
Over my lifetime, I remember, every couple months or so, I'd have that dream where you're running and you jump and, want to fly. You just fly on your own. And sometimes you're successful and sometimes you aren't in the dream. But I've never had that dream again since flying in space. And I think it's because my body knows now how it feels to float and fly like that. Thinking about our planet, it's just so perfectly placed with respect to the sun that it's like by design to take care of us. There's a reason why this is our home and why we're here.